What's up, everybody? Welcome to Rewind 245. I'm here to give my review for Little Big Planet 3. In short, I give the game an 8 out of 10. But I want to go through some of the pros and cons and why I couldn't get a higher score or why I didn't get a lower score. For me, Little Big Planet is great overall, but it does have its issues as we will cover. But first, let's cover some of the pros some of the game has. It has a lot of pros, so let's get started. So for one, the pros is the story itself. The story is actually really fun. It's short but sweet. I mean, comparing it to the others, it actually lasted me probably only 3 hours. That's pretty damn short. But it was enjoyable. It had its challenging moments. It was really fun playing through all the new characters were really fun. They each had their own unique stylized levels. And of course, the new additions that they put into the story, where now you can carry different items or power-ups actually, different power-ups that you could take throughout the game and use them in each stage of the game. You can use them whenever you want, and those power-ups help you go through different areas within the game. And of course, the slides, the new bounce pads, all the other stuff really flesh out the experience of including the new characters, and it makes it for a very enjoyable story. And the story itself, like I said, is 3 hours, but there are like side quests, I guess, and they will last you a little longer. And those side quests, sort of have their own little backstory. And of course, there's a bunch of items, costumes, stickers to collect, and there's these golden bubbles to collect as well. And these golden bubbles, the more you collect, they're like currency, I guess, in a way. And you can use those golden bubbles to buy more costumes. And I guess you can collect these costumes within the story, but you can't buy them with those gold with each gold bubbles you collect. So yeah, the story is really great. Another positive about Little Big Planet 3 is the tutorials. The tutorials are actually quite fun this time. Little Big Planet 1 and 2 they were a bit of a drag. But in Little Big Planet 3, playing through the tutorials, this is specifically the tutorials for the creation mode, and they're actually quite fun, and they make them pretty enjoyable, and you'll learn a lot playing out of these tutorials, especially if you're a noob creator, and of course they'll teach you some of the new things that the game has to offer. But they're actually quite enjoyable to play through, and of course you learn a lot for you to create your own levels. Um, and another positive is the level creator itself. It's a lot more deeper. There's a lot more depth to it because now before you only had 3 layers to play through, but now you have 16 layers to play through, and that really adds to the, I guess, the freedom and creativity the player has. Now it is quite overwhelming to have 16 layers to work with, and you don't have to work with all 16 layers. You can only work, if you want, you can work with fewer or all of it. But it adds much more freedom, much more options, much more availability to put things in your level. And the creator level itself, like there's these craters within the moon, and the smaller craters can only hold a single level, but the bigger craters could hold multiple levels within that crater. So if you're planning to create a lot of levels, then this will definitely keep you busy. And with that said, the game has great replay value. This game could keep you really busy. I've been playing for more than 20 hours or so. A chunk of that was from creating my level, and of course, some of that was from the story and community levels. And if you're a noob to Little Big Planet, then you have so many great Little Big Planet community levels to play from. It will keep you busy for a very long time. And and of course, the creation mode, the tutorials, collecting all the items, the costumes, and story will keep you busy for a very long time. And like I said, the additions to the game, from the story and to the creation mode, really flesh out the experience, and it really adds it. At first it doesn't feel like just like just an addition. It feels more than that. It feels like like a way for it, like an option or a level of freedom and a way to really experience the game in a better way. Um, so yeah, the new additions like the bounce pads, the slides, the teleporter, and the memorizer. That some of these things are carried over from previous Little Big Planets, but they make great use for them in this other Little Big Planet, in the new Little Big Planet 3. So yeah, that's about it for the pros of Little Big Planet 3. Now let's talk about the cons. And it does have its cons, and these cons keep it from me giving it a higher score. And I mentioned this on another review of some of the technical issues, and really it's the technical issues is what really messes up Little Big Planet 3. Now it does suffer through some small glitches like, you know, getting pulled out of the world or, other small things, but they're insignificant. But some of the bigger issues like the game crashes and the game freezes and the load times. Now the load time is not as big, but it's still pretty big. But we'll get to that later. But first, let's get to the crashes. Now I'm not sure if people in the PS3 version, if people are experiencing this issue, but this issue is definitely apparent on little bit on the PS4 version. And I don't know, like the game has crashed on me about 10 times or so, give or take. And that's way too common or too often for a game that you expect to be nicely polished. I mean, comparing it to other Little Planet games and the other PlayStation exclusives that came out this year, I have not had a game crash on me this many times ever. Like from the times that I played video games, I never had a game crash on me this many times, and I should not expect this from a game from Little Big Planet. Um, and yeah, like the crashes are an issue, and I've had some really bad crashes. Some crashes are simple where it just crashes the game and you just have to restart it. But I had a couple crashes where it will completely reboot my PS4, and those are the more scary ones. And I had one crash where it corrupted my save, and I had to recollect the stuff from the story mode. And another thing is the freezes. And I haven't seen many people complain about the game freezing, but it has frozen me. But particularly, the game has frozen me on um, the creation mode. And when I was creating my level, when I'm moving objects around, the game will just freeze. Now the game has only frozen me about 3 or 4 times, give or take, but that to me that's still way too often. It shouldn't be that often, and most of those times happen within one day, within just a couple of hours of game time. And to me that's really unacceptable. And another issue that I have to say is the load times. Now for the most part, the load times are not so bad. They're actually not so bad. Forgive me for the sound in the background. But for the load times are actually not that bad. They can go fairly quickly, but it's inconsistent. Sometimes the load times last way too long. And what I mean by inconsistent, let's say you play a story level, and let's say the load time goes fairly smooth, it goes fairly quickly. But then let's say you replay that same story level, but for some reason it takes a lot longer. So that's what I mean by it being inconsistent, is that even though you play the same level at different times or, play the same level twice or whatever, the load times could either go fast or slow or take too long. So it's really inconsistent, and of course this applies to the community levels, odds going through your create mode, um, and going through the tutorials, going through anything, the load times could be pretty inconsistent. I mean, they're not so bad, but they like I said, they're inconsistent. And one positive I forgot to mention is the co-op. Now, I played quite a bit of co-op with some players, and it ran actually pretty well. Unlike Little Big Planet 1 and 2, where, playing co-op was pretty laggy and it had its connection issues, but over here, co-op seemed to run much more smoothly and much more quicker. I did not experience any lag or connection issues. So the load times so the co-op and online were pretty good. So yeah, those are some of the positive and issues. the issues, of course, the crashes, the freezes and the load times, the inconsistent load times, and really it's the technical issues is what keep it from making me give it a higher score. If it was much more polished and if these issues were less apparent, I would have given it a higher score. I probably would have given it a 9 or a 9.5 out of 10 because I really enjoy this game. I really feel the positives really flesh out the experience and really make up for it or whatever. But the reason I didn't give it any less of a score is because I feel like a lot of the positives make up for some of the mistakes or some of the technical issues. But yeah, these technical issues do happen. I mean, they're not so often. They're not going to happen like 90% of the time, but they'll roughly happen like 5 or 10% of the time. And that may not seem much, but it is too often for a game where I expect it to run for the most part, 99% of the time fine, or at least 95%. And that really sucks because the technical issues is what really breaks the game. And but like I said, the positives for me is sort of make up for that because there's a lot of great new ideas in this game. The tutorials are well done, and the creator mode is much more fleshed out along with the story mode. So yeah, like there's a lot to this game. There's a lot of good things to this game. But if you were to ask me, oh, is it worth the $60? That's a really difficult answer for me to give you. I mean, based on the score alone and based on all the stuff I told you, that's still difficult for me to tell you because at its core, Little Big Planet 3, it's a great game and it's well worth the time and money. But these technical issues is what keeps it, from me from telling you that it's worth the money. So with that said, I will tell you to wait until the game gets patched, which I hope, and I'm pretty sure it will get patched because a lot of people have been complaining about some of these issues, but I will wait for a patch. And once those patches come up and if those patches fix the game, then I will tell you, yes, this game is absolutely worth your time and money. But at the meantime, I say play it safe. But if you're an absolutely die-hard Little Big Planet guy like me, well, I'm not super die-hard, but if you're a die-hard Little Big Planet 3, go ahead and go get it. Get it under your own risk. But you'll enjoy it. There's a lot to it that you'll enjoy it. But just keep in mind that there are issues that some players have been experiencing, and these will come haunt you when you get the game. But I guess the reason why I say to, play it safe is that I'm worried that some of these issues will end up screwing up your PlayStation 4 because, like I said, some of the issues that I've experienced have completely rebooted my PS4 and have corrupted my save data for Little Big Planet 3. So I'm really worried that some of that like a situation like that will happen even worse, will completely shut down my PS4 and will not make it work. So that's why I'll say I play it safe. So Little Big Planet 3, an 8 out of 10. I say play it safe in the meantime, but it is worth the time. Goodbye.